The Nissan Micra is a very well-known name and car that dates back to the 80s, but in the last couple of years, it's disappeared. Today, we're in Barcelona to see the new, reinvented, fully electric Nissan Micra, and it should be absolutely brilliant. And if you want to see lots more reveal videos like this and reviews, make sure you subscribe to our channel. So this is the 6th generation of the Micra, and even though this is one of the more famous models from the Japanese brand, it's had more than a little bit of help with this car from elsewhere. Yes, because Nissan is in an alliance with Renault, and so like the previous Micra was based on the Renault Clio of the time, this new Micra has been developed alongside the Renault 5. Which, to be honest, is fantastic news because we already know that the Renault 5 is a brilliant car. We named it our Car of the Year 2025, in fact. And so if that is the starting point for the new Micra, then Nissan is surely onto a winner. And as you can imagine, the two cars do have some similarities visually, in particular their silhouettes, but the Micra does have quite a different look at the front here, largely down to these new headlights, which you can see protrude slightly from the bonnet and offer this circular design. There's also an interesting design for the tail lights as well, and this is said to be a nod to the K12 Micra generation from 2002. They also give you a wink when you unlock it. The designers refer to this line down the side of the car as the ice cream scoop, and there are 6 different paint colours to choose from. You can also get a 2-tone finish with a black or grey roof, and there are 3 alloy wheel designs to choose from. Although the entry-level trim is actually steel wheels with a wheel cover. They're all 18 inches in size. It's the top 2 trims which are actual alloys, although it's yet to be confirmed which exact versions we're going to get in the UK. In terms of dimensions, this is just under 4 metres long. The distance between the front and rear wheels is 2.54 metres, and you won't be surprised to hear this is virtually identical to the measurements that you get with the Renault 5. And so that means that this car is up against the same set of rivals as well, which includes things like the Citroën EC3, the Mini Electric, the Fiat 500 and the BYD Dolphin. And this new Micra should compare very well to all of its rivals in this class when it comes to the interior, because this is basically a Renault 5 inside. I mean, look at the two cars side by side. They are virtually identical. There are some changes to point out though, like the fact you've obviously got a Nissan badge on the steering wheel and not a Renault one. Some of the materials and the colour schemes are a bit different as well, and there's also a nod to Mount Fuji down here on the centre console. You can see that on the boot as well. But ultimately, this is the same interior that you get in the Renault 5. And it's good to see that Nissan has made a few subtle changes here and there without seemingly fundamentally altering the brilliant interior that you get in the Renault 5. So the materials do still feel good quality. The build quality itself is impressive, and you've got this fantastic layout for your digital driver display, infotainment screen and physical air conditioning controls down here, which of course is brilliant to see on this car because lots of rivals have touchscreen air conditioning controls, which is very distracting and fiddly to use while you're driving. But here it's a very simple process to just change the temperature or the fan speed while you're at the wheel of the Micra, as it is in the Renault 5. Now you get Google built in with the Nissan Micra, like you do on the Renault 5, but again, the same in both cars. It's only on the upper 2 trim levels that are available. If you go for the lower trim level, you don't get those Google features, and you also get a slightly smaller digital driver display than the one that you can see here. Another difference from the Renault 5 is the fact that you've got these paddles on the steering wheel here, which actually help you adjust the level of regenerative braking in the Micra. And you can even activate a 1-pedal driving mode in this car. That means when you lift off the accelerator, the car will slow itself down to a complete stop. And that is something that is not yet available in the Renault 5, but it will be added to the lineup of that car in the future. But still, all in all, it's very encouraging to see Nissan's spin on this interior is basically just what the Renault 5 offers. And we know that that's a fantastic interior. With the dimensions being the same as the Renault 5, it means that space in the back is also the same. So that means that for an adult, it is pretty tight in these rear seats. This is a small electric car though, so it's not like there are loads of competitors that are brilliant for housing very tall people in the back. But even still, there is not much room for my legs behind the driver's seat in front of me. Headroom is also not particularly brilliant in here. And generally, if you want something in this class of car that offers better space for adults, then you will need to look at something like a BYD Dolphin or an MG4. But if you're only occasionally going to be using the rear seats, then this should be absolutely fine. And it's helpful that you've got ISOFIX mounts on either side in these rear seats as well. There's also a flat floor, and this is so much like the Renault 5 that you still have this rather attractive roof lining design, which in the Renault 5 is a nod to the original car, but here it's still included, even though it's got nothing to do with any old Micras. Now, the boot, in total, you have 276 litres of storage back here, which, as you'd imagine, is virtually identical to what's on offer in the Renault 5. And it means that in that car, we could fit a very respectable 4 carry-on size suitcases into the back. But this is ultimately a small electric car, so it's not got the biggest boot in the world. You can see there's quite a big drop down to the boot floor from this loading lip as well. But if you do want even more space than this, then you can take out the parcel shelf, which fits pretty easily in the boot itself, and you can fold down the rear seats, which split fold 60/40. There is also some underfloor storage, not on this model here, but it is a shame there isn't a front boot. The Micra will be available with 2 different batteries, and yes, that is the same choice that you get in the Renault 5. So it means the cheapest version of this car will have a 40 kilowatt-hour battery with a 121 brake horsepower electric motor and an official range of 192 miles. Above that, the most expensive version of the Micra will have a 52 kilowatt-hour battery with a more powerful 148 brake horsepower electric motor, and that will bump the official range up to 253 miles. That bigger battery can accept a maximum charging rate of 100 kilowatts, which is faster than the smaller battery, which accepts a maximum speed of 80 kilowatts. But it still means that both batteries, in ideal conditions, can go from 15 to 80% in around 30 minutes. You get a heat pump as standard with whichever version of the car that you go for, which is very good. And that means you can heat the interior of the car in cold conditions in a more efficient way. And you also get a preconditioning function with the car as well. So it means if you've got a charging station as your destination in the sat-nav, the car will automatically try and get the battery to an ideal temperature for when it arrives to accept the fastest charging speed possible, which is very handy. And there's also a vehicle to load function, which works through an adapter that you do have to pay extra for, but it essentially turns this into a massive portable 3-pin plug. So you can power a laptop, a vacuum cleaner, or even a kettle. Apparently, as well, this symbol on the charging port here reads as Nissan in Japanese. Other equipment that comes as standard includes Nissan's Pro Pilot Assist, which will offer lane keeping assistance, adaptive cruise control, and emergency braking. And the safety equipment generally will mirror that of what's on offer in the Renault 5. And yes, by this point you've probably realised that so much of this car is very, very similar to what's on offer in the Renault 5. And Nissan will definitely be hoping that this can share some of that car's success, because things haven't been going brilliantly for the Japanese manufacturer recently. They've announced huge financial losses and have started a drastic cost-cutting campaign, which will see 20,000 jobs go, 7 factories closed, and all product plans beyond 2026 frozen. Nissan will still, though, deliver 3 new fully electric models by then, and that includes this new Micra, as well as a new Leaf and a new Duke. And will we see a performance-focused Nissan Micra Nismo? Well, Nissan has not said anything officially. But if you look at the Renault 5 and the Alpine A290, then it does show that you can take these ingredients and create a rather interesting electric hot hatch. And what about the pricing? Well, there's been no official word from Nissan on what this car is exactly going to cost, but there are a few things that should give us a pretty good hint, like the fact that Nissan says this will be the entry point into its lineup, and also the fact that the Renault 5 starts at £22,995. So that is everything that we know about the new Nissan Micra. And if it can take everything that's great about the Renault 5 and deliver it with a Nissan badge, then this should be a great success for the brand. Thanks very much for watching this first look of the new Nissan Micra. If you want to see another video like this, then click up there. Make sure you subscribe to our channel as well. And to read much more about this car and every other new car around, click on that link to go to whatcar.com.